fish is very exciting to work with simply because there's so many varieties and they all have their own flavors and textures. You can bake it, you can roast it, you can wrap it, you can stuff it, and every single fish from a red snapper to a bass, I mean, the flavor is, it's always an adventure to try a new fish. You know what I love cooking with? Fish. You see this nice red snapper? You could tell it's fresh by looking at the eye. It's very shiny. The flesh, when you poke it, it actually bounces back. And the gills here, they're quite red. So this is your first indication that it's so fresh. I have a couple fillets here with the bones, and then I took the bones right out here, so it's a clean fillet. There you go. I love fish because you can do so many things with it. I'm going to show you how to wrap it with romaine lettuce. Very easy, maybe a little different thing you could do. So I put it in hot water, actually boiling water that has a little salt to maintain the color. Put it in cold water to shock it back and refresh it, and then we pat it dry. There you go. And for this wrapping fish, we're going to do a little rub just to give it that extra flavor. So in the mixer, I put a little bit of white pepper, a little bit of cumin, a little bit of curry, brown sugar, some nice cider vinegar for a little bit of acidity, a little bit of basil, and a little squeeze of lemon juice. Just like that. All right. Now for the freshness, a little bit of parsley and mint. There you go. And you just buzz that until it's well incorporated. Might need a little more vinegar. There you go. You don't want it too liquidy, just like this. Actually, if you could see the movement, it's just pureeing up. All right. Very good. It smells so refreshing with the mint. You see this? There's just a little bit of liquid. You see this? It's beautiful. It smells nice. Okay, now what do we have here? Okay, we have some beautiful romaine leaves. I'm putting right at the end. This will be a little bed actually. Now for the wrapping. Some romaine lettuce that's been blanched, a nice filet deboned, a little salt, a little pepper. And I need to make this very tight, so seal in all this nice rub that I'm putting on. Just like this. Spread it with your fingers like that until the end. And now you go from the end and you just wrap it like a little cigar. You could do this with banana leaves, grape leaves, and you sit it on top, and the leaves will actually prevent it from burning. And now in the oven it goes. This doesn't need to cook for a long time. There'll be some steam created between the fish and the romaine lettuce, and you see this? If you can smell, it's so cumin and curry and fishy. Delicious. I can't wait to try this. Okay. Now, the perfect accompaniment to this is rice, wild rice latkes, which is actually just a little rice cake with a little bit of eggs that I made before, right on the plate. And one of our very succulent, maybe I'll put two, why not? All right, guys, I'm trying this. This fish is so fresh.
So moist.
It's very flaky. You like the cumin with it?
Oh, it's fantastic.
You can add a little spices to it. Salt cod is actually salted fish that's a little bit misunderstood, but let me show you how easy it is to work with. You see, it's a little stiff, very, very salty. It's actually been soaked, it's been dried, it's been soaked in salt. So I'm just shredding it like this. And the trick here is to put lots and lots and lots of water. The main purpose of putting the water is actually to suck all the salt right out of the fish like this. Now I need to add some plastic wrap, and the reason why I'm doing this is, let me tell you that your fridge will stink right up if you don't put it. So just like this, as tight as I can, I'm putting it in the fridge for, if you can, actually 30 hours. And I'm changing the water every 3 to 4 hours until the water is clean like this. Okay. I can actually smell a big difference here. It's not as powerful as it was before. And again, I'm patting them just a little dry, and now I need to flake it off. All right. This is the same process as they actually used to do prosciutto, or to do cured meat in the olden days, I should say. There's also another version of salt cod that is a dried cod, and this, if you do your grocery shopping, you can actually close your eyes, go in the grocery store, and you follow your nose, and it's this big long thing that's dried up, and I mean, it really smells. But it's a good thing, because you soak it, and then the smell kind of goes off. All right, once I'm done shredding like this, I'm ready to cook it. You can't really eat this raw because it's way too powerful. Okay, I have some onions and some garlic that I just sweated just until it's golden color. I add my cod right in here. And while this is cooking, it's actually going to flake up a little more. You need to let this cook with the lid. The moisture inside will actually incorporate in the mix, and a few minutes later, you see this? All kinds of juices in. It smells like the ocean now, not the low tide anymore, just the ocean. Okay. So because you can't really eat the salt cod just by itself, how about some mashed potatoes? So with this little gadget here, a ricer, need to see if you actually need muscles for this job. So you just put the potato right in, just like that. All right. Maybe a little cream, a little milk if you want to go low fat, but hey, low fat doesn't really exist in my vocabulary. A little salt, a little pepper. Mix it up. You have the most succulent mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes are ready. Cod mixture is ready. Let's do 2 really cool appetizers that are really simple using the 2. With the salt cod, I'm going to make 2 appetizers. The first one, a potato and salt cod gratin with a lot of Parmesan, which is very rich but very tasty. The second one, a turnover, which is very tasty. All the flavors get sealed inside the little dough pocket, and then it gets deep fried. It's delicious. Delicious. Remember, I promised you I was going to show you 2 very easy ways of making dishes with cod. Well, here's the first one. We have our potatoes that we whipped before. I'm making a potato gratin here. A little more cream, and this will actually bind it at the end a little more. Okay. Now in this blender here, in this mixer, I'm gonna add half the cod that I had made before. Just like this. I gotta speak louder and louder. You ready for this? All right, you just want this to incorporate and just shred a little more. Doesn't take long. See? Okay. Smells very nice. Okay, to this, I'm simply adding it to the processor right here like that. Oops. A little more twist maybe. And this is the base of the gratin. It's very, very easy. The flavors are incredible because you have the richness of the potatoes and you have the saltiness of the cod. It'll be fantastic, I promise you. Okay, little final stir here. You see, this is a lot like a dish we make in France called brandade. The only difference is that we don't use olive oil, but it's still very, very rich. You just squish it right in, just like that. I put a lot because I love this stuff. A little bit of Parmesan cheese, or a lot, whatever you want. This will bring a sharpness to it. Kind of refreshing also. In the oven it goes. Now these gratins here, you don't need to cook them at a high temperature. Small temperature, low temperature. The cheese is gonna melt. They're gonna become all gooey, yummy. All right. Now, I promised you two dishes, two simple dishes. Well, the second one is actually a cod turnover.
There you go, chef.
Thank you. I have some pastry dough right here. Of course, I made it, but you can buy it frozen, fresh, anywhere you want to buy it, that's fine too. So I'm simply using a cookie cutter again, and you need to be a little careful. I'm pushing down every edges not to rip the dough, but you see it's a perfect clean cut. Okay, now, same ingredients, potatoes and the cod mixture that we had before. Same thing, it's very, very easy. You don't need a lot of flavors when you use cod actually. It's salty, I'm not using any more salt. Just like this, you just incorporate it very, very well. I'll just set this right here. Now again with the glue, a little bit of egg wash, and I'm just doing half a circle again. Little mixture. I'm not putting too much, too afraid of explosions here. And again, you fold it in half. And you crinkle it, you pinch it together. You take one side and you push it in. It's like if you ever watch your grandmother make a pie, I think that's what, anyways, that's what my grandmother does. And then you just fold it together like this. You see? All right, now these guys are gonna go right in the oil. So you want a fairly hot oil. And you see how I'm putting the turnovers in the basket. This is actually to save my eyebrows here. So I'm just putting them slowly in the hot oil. And you let them cook for 6-7 minutes and they'll be all golden brown. You see this? Now this is happiness. Happiness in a turnover mold, if I could say that. Can you imagine the flavors on these? Oh, that's great. Okay, right on the plate. These are super, super hot. You know what? Maybe we should try the gratin first. What do you think about that?
Let's do it.
Yeah? Ooh. It's so fresh and rich and Parmesan, oh my God, fantastic. Now this is heaven. The sour cream is very refreshing. I love cod. You know what my favorite way of eating fish is? Stuffing it and grilling it. I'm going to show you an extremely easy way to do this. You see how fresh this fish is? It just bounces right off and the eye is perfect and the gill's all red. That's great. All right. To grill it, I do 3 little slits like this. This fish here is actually black bass. It's part of the sea bass family, and you have sea bass, you have striped bass, you have black bass. You see, when I'm cutting the slits here, I'm not actually going all the way through. I'm just doing just a little bit. And the purpose of this is actually when I put it on the grill, I don't want the whole thing to explode and come off from the bone. I just want everything to stay in place. So I'm doing 3 little slits like this. This is a wonderful fish, very, very white flesh and almost sweet actually. Try to get it right in there. A little bit of pepper. That's great. All right, little guy. Now this guy needs a stuffing. How about some onions, a little bit of herbs? I cook some onions here in butter, and they're all cooled. I'm putting this straight in a bowl. Gonna bring this bowl right here. A little egg for binding. Now a whole whack of herbs, just for freshness, a little bit of thyme. Some rosemary that you just pluck, not so it's not in too much big pieces. Parsley, why not? A little anchovy. This will give a little seawater taste. Come on out. You can put as much of this stuff as you want actually. Cilantro, a little bit of chives. You see these beautiful breadcrumbs here? These will act as the egg as a binding agent. You just put them right in, a little more swish. See, it looks way drier this way. Okay, now this guy, you see how it's all clean inside? I've asked my fishmonger to clean it for me, but you could do it yourself if you're feeling adventurous. I just take everything out, clean it under running water, and you pat it dry. Now you put some filling in there. You see I'm not totally packing it in, just slightly. I'm pushing it into every little crevice. You don't want too much out. And here's a funny trick here. These are bamboo skewers. I'm going to use this as almost like a little sewing kit. I put them in water just so they don't actually burn when I put them on the grill. So you see I'm going from one end to the fish to the other. See, no more excuse for asking your mother to sew a button after this. Or just have to be a little precise. You don't need to seal it all in, but as much as you can actually. You see that? That's exactly what I'm looking for. Now little buddy here is ready for the grill. Okay, just like this. Now here's a cool trick. I'm putting a rag, a dry rag, and lots of vegetable oil. Putting it right on. Okay. Now here's another cool trick. To know if your grill is hot enough, you literally put your hand on. I have the advantages of almost having no sensation in my finger anymore, but if you can put it like this, like that's pretty darn hot. So that means that your grill is ready to have a recipient of a nice little sexy fish here. You see how much smoke there is? That's what I'm looking for. I want this to be fully coated with oil. That way I'm assured that there's not going to be any stickage happening. So on this fish, I just need to add a little bit of salt and pepper, and I mean, there's lots of oil on this baby. Okay, so the fish goes right on. Don't worry about the flames, that's part of the beauty here. Now to lift this little guy up and flip him around, you just grab him by the tail. And now, there you go. You just flip it around. You see, I didn't massacre the skin too much. Now, this guy can go on a plate just like this. Okay. Nice fresh lemon juice, a little bit of chives. We pull this guy out. Well, you guys, let's see what it looks like inside. The grilling, it brings this charcoal, you know, like it reminds me on the barbecue, you know, in the summer. Guys, a cheer to us and to our oceans. We have to take advantage of the nice jewels we have in there to fish.
Thank you, Chef.
When I was 10 years old, I went ice fishing with my dad, and for some reason, I'm the one that caught the most fish, and my dad always said that I used to look in the hole and talk to the fishes. So that's probably why I had so much success. And even if I got a small fish like this or a big one like this, I ate it and loved it every single time.